y'all. So the next project that I am working on is another diorama for Rich. Rich bought a dial from me a month and a half, 2 months ago. It was basically that those two structures, it was like an alleyway and there was a fence between the two structures. So he had bought that, and he's using it pretty much for his Walking Dead figure. So he hit me up and he said that he wanted another diorama, and he wanted it to be geared more towards The Walking Dead. So not sure if everyone knows this, but The Walking Dead is definitely a smaller scale action figure. So here's Tyreese from the Walking Dead, from the McFarlane series, and here is Bullseye, Marvel Legends, next to him. So it's, you know, it's a good inch difference. So, you know, in this example, this doorway would be kind of too small for, or too short rather, for Bullseye, just because his head would be barely clearing it. So yeah, I had to adjust the size of the bricks as well. I think I went from 1 inch long to 3/4 of an inch long. So yeah, so I had to adjust that to just, again, gear it more towards The Walking Dead in that scale. So this diorama is going to be, or it is 16 inches long, and I completely forgot how deep, and it is about 11 inches, I would say 11 inches deep, and then pretty much about a foot tall at the top parts. What I'm gonna do with this diorama is, I started this by showing, this is the inspiration behind this diorama. So this was a scene that was deleted from season 1 or season 2, and so this was the original picture that I saw, and then I YouTubed it, and it was a deleted scene that never aired on the show. So I'm gonna attempt to create something real similar to this. So the bricks are gonna be painted white, and then the white's gonna be fading away. I'm definitely gonna use those wooden boards that are up there that I assume at some point held a structure. So I'll be using that in this dial. I will, this doorway here is kind of supposed to be this doorway here, just a little bit not as big as depicted in the picture. But the greenery on the floor, I'm gonna put a permanent palette on the floor. Obviously already I'm preparing it for it to be dusty, and it's gonna be kind of a dirt type floor, although this looks like it's a cement based floor, but I'm gonna make it dusty and dirty so it looks like it's more of a dirt floor. So this is the next project, man, and one of the things that I want to do with this dial is I want to tear it up a little more here and make it a little chunkier. I'm going to put some, again, those wooden boards that we saw in the picture. I'll put some there. I'm going to put some steel coming out of the walls with chunks of cement on them. What I've noticed is that I'm really enjoying the smaller dials that I'm working on, and this is a little bit bigger than the 12 inches that I've been working on normally. So at a 16-inch size, it's a little bit bigger, but what it allows me to do, it allows me to work a little more on details. I mean, if I do a 2-foot dial and I was to make it as detailed as I'm going to make this diorama, I mean, I'm going to charge $300 for it, like straight up. Like it's time consuming. So when I do something a little bit smaller, just eliminating 8 inches will allow me to do more detail and not charge an arm and a leg, because it is a smaller size. But I still think it's a pretty good size for The Walking Dead. I mean, there's Tyreese, so you can picture 4, 5, 6 zombies there, and some of the good guys here, and it would still give you enough. The challenge with a dial like this, and I guess it's a challenge that I'm putting on Rich, is that you can take some really cool shots when you play with the light correctly. And Michael Wisman actually had a video on this, and I love the way it came out, where the way he explained it is that if this darkness in the background is just nothingness, then it gives it a good look. But it's a little challenging if it's not something you normally do. I've noticed that Rich his pictures are starting to get to the point where he's experimenting a little bit with darkness and with light, and I think this is going to be a good piece for him to do some more experimentation. One of the things that I also want to do with this diode is this wall on the outside is going to be part of the diorama. So if you take a picture like this, it'll still feel like it's part of it. So that's the additional dimension that I'm creating. Obviously, if you take a picture like that, you're going to see where the dial's laying on. But if you take it something like this, you'll be able to see just the action figures, and you can take a good shot. So before I went any further in terms of more details and painting and all that other good stuff, I wanted to put this out so you guys can kind of see this progress. But yeah, I've been working on it now. Took it, let me see, probably about, at this point I'm probably about 5 or 6 hours in. 6 hours, probably close to the 6 hour mark. And I still have a ways to go, but I'm really looking forward to the details I'm gonna put into this, and the paint job is gonna look really, really good, man. I already kind of see it in my head, and it's getting to the point where when I create these dioramas and I kind of start picturing what it's gonna look like in my head, it eventually comes out exactly the way I pictured it, and the way I have it in mind right now, it's gonna be dope. So yeah, this is first segment, and I'll be recording more as I go through the process. Peace out, y'all. Alright, so a little more progress on this one. Last night, stayed up for a couple of hours, and basically started chiseling away at the corner bricks, as well as for all of the corner bricks on all of the walls. So I did that last night. I also carved out the window, pushed that in a little bit, and then I created this this metal. It's gonna, it's not metal, it's foam. It's black foam from a foam board project. The project boards that kids get for their middle school projects or whatever. So gonna make that look like one of those old metal doors that kind of slide. And originally I was gonna make it a pocket door, so it can have the ability to kind of slide out. The problem with that is that it will leave this too weak, and I'm afraid it could snap off at any second. So because it is a commission, and the goal is to make sure that the new owner has this dial for a long time, and it doesn't just break on them, I'm gonna make it a permanent. It's gonna sit permanently in there, so it's gonna be hot glue gun in the back, and that way it won't be weak anymore, and it'll still have that opening for zombies to be trying to get through, which will be some good shots for him. What I'm gonna start now is kind of laying out the pipe work on the walls. So what I decided to do is, I don't know, I don't think I've ever seen anyone use this, but maybe, who knows. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna cut this. So this the dowel rods are in the straws. I'm gonna paint the whole thing's gonna be painted that metallic metal spray paint, that Rust-Oleum, I forgot the name of it. And then what I'll do is I'll have some of these, I'll cut these, paste them on the wall, and then insert some of these wires and glue them in there so they're kind of hanging out. So it looks like, just some ripped up wiring. So that'll kind of be the next step of getting that up there, or getting ready to get that up there. I'm also going to put some steel beams, and I'm air quoting steel beams, in here, and also on the back side of it, to give it another dimension, as I was saying in the first segment. So yeah, man, so this is where we're at. I'm real happy with the way this door came. I put a little handle on it and everything, and I thought that came out pretty good. And once it's painted that green, that traditional green that they mostly are, it's gonna look really good. And I think over here I might go with a red, or I don't know, something opposite of that. But yeah, that is where I am yet. Hopefully next segment will be the black base paint. My daughter wanted to say hello to everybody. So that was her.
Bye, YouTube.
Alright, YouTube. Peace. Alright, so moving right along, we are up to the painting process. So I gave it that base black. You know, a lot of times I've noticed, especially when you start kind of doing the rubble or whatever, you use that base black, and a lot of times you don't necessarily, it looks like you filled it in, but then it dries out and it's not necessarily filled in. In this case, for the most part, in the beginning, I would generally go back and fill it in, you know, with black before I started, but it's so minimal that what I just do these days, you know, like for another example's up here. So you see, some of the pink is showing through. And again, I would just go back and just make sure everything was solid black. But, you know, with a dry brush, it hides it. So it's not something that you feel like you have to go back, blacken it out, make sure it's, you know, 100% black. It always works 95%, you know, 96% or whatever. That always works with me, because I just, you know, once you kind of do the dry brushing, it covers it up, so you're good. But yeah, so I went yesterday. I filled in, or the night before. What? Yesterday was Thursday, so Wednesday I painted it in black, and I let it dry 24 hours just because sometimes I get ahead of myself, and then all of a sudden I'm painting and then black will smudge because it's not completely dry. So waited the whole 24 hours and then started the brick work yesterday. And I'm pretty much done with the brick work. The challenging part now is, going back to kind of the reference point, is to get that white on the bricks. So you can see some of the bricks, you know, they kind of, they peep out, you know, like those two in particular. Let me see, like those two right in that area. You see 2 or 3, 4, 5 of them kind of peeping out, and the rest are pretty white or pretty painted, or still painted pretty much. So that's going to be the challenge for this, because now I have to go back with the white paint, and I can't make it look like a fade. I can't make it look like it's smudging. It has to be some pretty detailed parts within it. So that'll definitely be the first time that I've ever painted over the brick. But yeah, it should work out. You know, I'll try to be as creative as I can with it and make sure it you know, it looks like it should look. But yeah, man, that's where I'm at so far. I definitely like the way that green is kind of peeping through the missing bricks. I think it's a good look. And then when I paint this section in gray, you'll have a real good, you know, difference in colors. And I always, you know, I think one of the reasons I always go back to liking bricks and cement is that you get that, you know, you get that contrast in color, and I think it's just a good look. The floor is going to be more of a light beige, dusty type brown. And it's not going to be a cement as I normally have done with these type of dioramas. I'm just going to go with a different look here. So that yet in itself is another experiment. And then what I'm going to do, got up this morning and thought, man, I have to paint the bricks that I cut out. I save them and I'm going to paint them. Usually I'll just kind of glue them in some random areas, and I'll still do that. But I think what I'm going to do is create a couple of piles. I saw somebody do that on Die Structure, so I apologize. I even made a comment that I was going to copy it. It was a while ago, but so what I'm going to do is, man, what's it? I'm really sorry, but I did see it, or maybe it was on YouTube. I saw it somewhere where they just kind of, you know, kind of create a pile of bricks or chunks of cement or whatever it is, and you can put them wherever you want to put them. So I'm going to do that for this diorama. Probably create about 2 piles to send over to Rich so he can put those wherever he wants. But I'll also put a couple of permanent glued down bricks. So yeah, man, it's coming along. I'm definitely happy with the way it's looking, and I can't wait to finish this. Definitely looking forward to the final look, and I have a feeling this is going to be the second piece, because that crack house piece was the first, but this will be the second piece that I kind of regret selling. You know, but that's cool. It was made specifically for Rich and mine, and I think he'll like it. Alright, man, so this is it. Next segment should be it pretty much done. I think I'm just gonna go to that step, unless something else comes up that I feel is important for you guys to look at that can help you in your dial building. Hi, y'all. Peace. Alright, and we are pretty much done with this diorama. I've already recorded, I think, almost 15 minutes of footage, so I'm going to try to keep this last segment under 5 minutes, so I can try to stay under the 20-minute mark. But real quick, some of the highlights. Went with the silver piping. Used zip ties to tie them to the wall, and then you can see it there in the back. Kind of ties there, and then I put glue, a hot glue over it, just to tighten it up even more. Then I just hung a couple of wires out. Nothing groundbreaking has been done before, but it's my first time, I believe, doing something like this, so thought it came out pretty cool. The walls, if you paint any brick surface and then you never paint it again, this is what it kind of starts to look like. So again, just to bring out the reference, you can see the brick in the back where it's white, and then the brick is kind of seeping through, and that's what happens as brick is a porous surface. Correct me if I'm wrong, someone, but it's the kind of surface that kind of brittles away with rain and the weather and so forth. So if you're to paint brick white and you don't paint it on a yearly basis, it starts to kind of look kind of like that, faded away, and then some of the paint will stay in the grout a little bit longer and so forth. So that was the look that I was going for on the wall, and I'm pretty happy with it. Was thinking about doing more white, but I like brick, and wasn't too sure as it was my first time, so I'll stick with less rather than more. None of the doors open. It was good to experiment with this and see if I can make it kind of a sliding door. After trying to work it out, this would have been too thin, and it just wouldn't, in my opinion, over time, it would have either snapped off or broken off. And I just want, Rich is buying this, and I want him to have many years of use with it. So included a couple of brick piles, and then some of these loose bricks. Half pallet. One of the first pallets I ever made, which was used no nails. It was a real basic pallet, so I just kind of chopped it in half and threw half of it with as part of this. So this is all stuff that can be moved. Everything else is pretty, much permanent. These bricks are glued on permanently, as are those and these as well. So, and this is another part of that pile. But yeah, the cool thing about the greenery that I use is that, if you stack it for a little bit, it's alright. It'll kind of pop back into place. And if it does, you can kind of shape it. And that's the same thing for, for all the way around. So I just poked a hole and just glue gun, use a glue gun and stuck them in there. And, same thing with the paper. The paint, I went with the brown. A light brown mist, got darker in some spots, and then came back with a black. So I definitely am happy with at the end of the day with the color on all aspects. Definitely wanted to put kind of those details, and it can be used from this angle as well, which is kind of cool. So this kind of the first diorama that I kind of have that can be used from this side, so you can get some different shots in there and still get the feel of the space. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, man. I'm definitely happy with the way it came out. Hopefully I'll have it shipped by tomorrow. I will take a few pictures and put them at the end of this video of some of my favorite parts of, or some of my favorite angles anyway, of this diorama. But it was a cool project. Again, 16 inches across, about 11 inches deep, 12 inches tall. So it's not huge, but it's a great size, especially for the Walking Dead figures. Alright, y'all, and that is it. Peace.